FilmTalkiesZero.com. The film begins by showing us Mirabelle when she was a girl, and we see that her soulful grandmother tells her the story of her when she had to go with her grandfather Pedro. On the way they were joined by more people looking for a new home, but they found them and lost their grandfather. In the darkest moment they received a miracle where a candle became in a magical flame which gave them a new place to live, and that she had her own lifetime past, and each member of her family received a magical gift which helped them convert her house in a paradise. Grandmother Soul tells Mirabelle that tonight she will receive her magic and that she will make everyone proud. Her family Lookable is excited to receive the magic from her and headed to get it. Lapse several years and we see that she looks beautiful. Grew up after we started seeing the different family members Madrigal who live in the house magical, and each of them have their own magic. We hear that no one speaks of her uncle Bruno who had the magic. He will see the future, but one day he disappeared. The whole family swore to protect the other people in order to deserve the miracle that they were granted, but we heard that Mirabelle is the only one of the family that did not receive a magic too. That the children say that if they were them, they would feel very sad afterwards. Mirabelle, she starts helping with the decorations for the next ceremony, but her grandmother, she tells him that she does not help them so that everything is perfect, so she goes very sad to her room and we see that her cousin Antonio was under his bed. Antonio begins to say that he is nervous that it won't work, and Mirabelle, she says she don't worry because she does. She will receive the magic from her. Then she opens the gift that she gave him Mirabelle and we see that he is a cuddly toy since she likes them a lot. Animals all go on their way to the house to start the ceremony. The grandmother begins to say that the candle she gave them a miracle which they use to help others, and that tonight another family member will receive their magic which will make them proud. Antonio tells him look, he sees the one she needs, so the two start to walk together towards the door and we see the memory of when you look come could not get the magic from her which she made sad. Her grandmother's soul, we began to see that Antonio is about to open the door. And I got the magic to communicate with animals. Grandma Soul tells everyone who has a new magic, and we see that inside the door a new room for Antonio who is related to the new magic of her all. They begin to celebrate and we see that he looks sad. She is sad because her grandmother never told her what she was special. Mirabelle starts to say no. She feels good because she doesn't. She received a miracle like the others members of her family, and that always she is walking alone waiting for a miracle to be able to shine like the others. Suddenly we see that the house is beginning to destroy and that the magic candle is about turn off. Look to see it runs away to tell her family, but when we leave we see that nothing had happened. Grandmother tells those who continue with the after party. Myra Abel meets with his mom and we see that she doesn't believe her either. But she still starts to tell him that for her it is very special. Look to see. She goes to sleep but gets up to go towards the flame. Suddenly appears his grandmother, so it is hidden, and we listen that she already knew about the cracks but that she keeps it a secret from her family since she only wants to protect them. Mirabelle returns to her room and says that she will save the miracle, but that she must first figure out how to do it later. Mirabelle meets with her cousin Dolores, which she has the magic of a super ear, but we see that it was actually her cousin Camilo who she can transform into other people. Then Mirabel meets with his sister Louisa, who has the magic of the super strength and that she likes it a lot. Help others, but she feels a lot pressure due to high expectations. What do they have of her? So Mirabella gives Louisa a hug, tells Mirabel that she felt weak the moment she saw the cracks and that Uncle Bruno had one horrible vision this before she was out. Later Mirabel is on her way to her Uncle Bruno's room, where we see that there is an hourglass and that she almost has no power inside. Then Mirabel crosses the clock and begins to fall through a mountain of sand. Look at Abel. She continues on her way and starts to climb many stairs to reach the top, but we see that the road is found destroyed by what she looks at. Belle uses a rope to be able to cross. Then she starts walking down a kind of temple and enters a room containing crystals. Suddenly she starts to break down, so she takes the crystals and she runs to the exit. Look to see the room comes out, and we heard that Louisa lost her magic because of what Grandma tells Mirabel that don't talk to her. Then Mirabel goes to her room and her uncles tell her that Bruno, it was a nightmare because his visions of her always came true. Mirabel begins to put the pieces of the crystal and realizes that she was in a vision, but suddenly she comes to her from her dad because of what she tells him. And he says they won't say anything, but we see that were heard by Sorrows. Then they gather at the table for the dinner with the Guzman family, and we see that Dolores tells the secret to others members of the Mariano family of her is too about to ask for the hand and knows the butt of. Suddenly we see that things go out of control and what pains he tells everyone what Mirabel did. Then Mirabel continues the rats to a secret passageway in where she was to Bruno, so she starts chasing him, but she is about to fall into a big hole and it's saved by her Uncle Bruno. We started to see that Bruno is a little crazy because of the visions of him and that he has taken care of plug the cracks. We found out that Bruno has lived all this time hidden in the house with the rats. Mirabel realizes that her Uncle Bruno has been living in dining room chair and that he always ate with them, although she didn't know. Uncle Bruno tells Mirabel, who had this vision the day she did not receive the magic from her, and that she realized that nothing else was in danger. That night she decided to leave the house to protect her. Bruno tells Mirabel that everything depends on her, so looked at him, tells him to use his magic from her to have a new vision and so know what she should do, but Bruno tells him that he can't because she destroyed her cave. Suddenly appears Antonio and says that the rats told him everything and that they can use her room to do the Bruno visions. You start to prepare to have a new vision, and we see that his door shines again. Due to the use of his magic, we began to see that in his vision the whole place is destroyed and that Mirabel must embrace Isabella so that the candle shines brighter strong. Then they leave the room and Mirabel says that Isabella will never give him a hug, to what Bruno tells him that he future of the family depends on her. Then Mirabel goes to the room Isabella and we see that she is angry because she messed up his proposal. Although she tells him that she didn't love him, Mary, and that she only did it for the family. Isabella starts using her magic with the true feelings of her sense. She was always forced to be perfect, and we see that she starts to create new types of plants. The two sisters take a hug on. The flame begins to shine brighter strong, but suddenly comes to Grandma and she begins to claim Mirabel that everything has always been her fault, which causes the miracle to fail again. and that the whole house begins to be destroyed. Later we see that the candle is turned off completely and that the whole family, she lost her magic the next day. All they are looking for Mirabelle, and we see that she finds herself crying. Bank of the river suddenly reaches its her grandmother, and Mirabelle apologized to her grandmother, begins to tell him that in that place gave them the miracle and that never had returned. We began to see the story of the grandmother's soul next to the grandfather Pedro, where one day his town was attacked, so they had to leave the place, and grandfather Pedro sacrificed himself to protect her family, which caused the flame to ignite and the miracle happened. The grandmother begins to say that she was granted a miracle and that she was afraid of losing him, which caused him to lose the real reason for having it. Her grandmother asks sorry and tells him that everything was really her fault. Mirabelle realizes that in reality the vision of the hug was with his of her grandmother, and she begins to thank her all that she has done. Suddenly we see get to Bruno, and grandma gets happy to see her son again after they leave on the way back to her house, and we see Mirabelle motivates her family, telling them that they are more than just the magic. The whole town is on its way to help the family rebuild her house, and we see that little by little they manage that is better than before. At the end of the house they give Mirabelle a goatee for the door as they want it to be she the one who opens it for the first time. Look, Abel gets very happy, and when he opens the door we see that the magic begins to return to the house and all the members of the Madrigal family as well. The movie ends. Don't forget subscribe and leave a like and comment what more movies you would like see in the channel. The greetings of this video are for Gabriela Martinez Spider, Marmin Brandon Montserrat Macias and Para the Talking Stuffed Animals. Don't forget comment those who want to go out in the next video. Thanks for your watching time. Subscribe my channel.